What's your general message that you need parents to know when it comes to protecting children on the internet?
I'm going to be very succinct. You have to start a dialogue with your children. You have to start a dialogue with yourself, and we have to start dealing with addiction directly. If any of us don't admit that we're addicted to the beautiful technologies and all of the razzle-dazzle that we've created with all of these social apps and all of the cool things that we can do. And by the way, I want to make it very clear. And Kim, I have to be very clear on this. I love technology, everyone. I am actually a complete lover of tech. That is why I've created these incredibly cool places that a lot of you have gone to. I have a team of incredible people at ANC, my day job, in which we create these incredible displays, and my work's at the World Trade Center with my team, and the teams works all over the country. And what's so cool is that by doing this work, I became an expert in security, not because I wanted to be, but because it was mandatory. You can't do the work any longer without doing the security. So when you think about it, you today have to be a security expert first and then a visual expert second. And that's tough. That meant I had to go back and really retool and retrain myself. So again, going back to the parents and you guys, I'm not here because I want to get famous specifically. No, what I want to do instead is educate. I could have stopped where my career is going right now and just stayed on my career path. I would have been very safe. What I'm doing now is really coming out as an educator and telling people, we have a problem. It's not a problem that any of us are really bad. And specifically me being on one of the platforms I most worry about, TikTok, which I want to make very clear. When TikTok is good, it's great. When TikTok does cool things and creates incredible cultural phenomena, it's amazing. The technology, the engine behind TikTok is absolutely incredible. And the amount of AI and the amount of tools and the amount of programming and care that went into creating this platform, I do not want to underrate it. It's absolutely the best in class of what it does. However, TikTok, just like Instagram, just like Meta, just like everyone, has one issue. They all need to retain our eyeballs and keep those eyeballs fixed on those screens. So when you think of it in terms of what is the problem, it's addiction. And the addiction is us. We are the addicted. The plague, if you want to call it a plague, is the fact that we now all probably share, most of us, symptoms of the same disease. So now how are we going to join together in a real dialogue and start to help each other? That is actually my challenge. I'd like to see everyone hold hands and let's change the culture, not by politics. I'm not into that. I'm into changing the dialogue so that we can help our children. We can take predators off the street and we can protect your homes and my home, your home. Yeah, that's what I'd like to do.
I love the approach. It's very solutions oriented and it's very balanced. And I use that word with you a lot because balance is important. Balance is where we thrive and where we find solutions. But balance is also needed in these discussions that aren't necessarily a yes or no answer. Meaning there are people that are saying all technology is bad, or they're saying things like don't allow your children access to the internet. Now, I'm not a parent. I'm not saying I disagree, but I'm also saying that might not be realistic for the average parent, specifically single parents who need to sometimes entertain their kid. There's also a lot of positive things about technology that I would like to see children take advantage of. However, I've also done counter-trafficking ops and posed as a child on the internet, and I have been flooded with the most disgusting predatory things that no child should ever be privy to. So I think balance is necessary because the answer lies somewhere in the middle, and the answer does lie within awareness and knowledge or communication or solutions or dialogue. All these things I've heard you talk about and discuss with various communities, even opposing views. It's so important for us to take this message seriously without overreacting, without driving kids to the point of hiding things from us instead of communicating and navigating through it. So I love your approach. Can you talk about your idea of getting into your child's world and why that's important?
Yeah, I mean, when I grew up, I'm 60 years old this year. And when I think back, I grew up in around the 70s and the 80s. It's a very interesting time because parents didn't like the ramifications of rock and roll. They thought rock and roll was going to destroy civilization. And just like we feel TikTok would destroy civilization, there is some humor in there because I want to make it very clear that looking at history, I'm not foolish enough to tell you all that this technology is inherently evil. That's not the problem. What the problem is that all of us have need an accountability partner, and we've lost it. Because the problem is, in our own families, we have no one we can be accountable to because everyone is dealing with their mutual addicted selves and their apps and what they like to do, and no one's sharing. There's very little sharing going on. And we need to go into this other, we have not gone into yet, funnels. But when we go into funnels, this will make more sense. But everyone is looking at their own bias. They're looking at their own reality because the algorithms, the social media that you're looking at right now on TikTok, tries to make you happy. Because the more it makes you happy, the more you stay on. Which actually means, doesn't it, at the end of the day, you're looking at everything that makes you happy, but you're not seeing the news. You're not seeing a reality. You're seeing specifically your reality. And then you all have to think about it. Where is our reality? Where is the collective reality? It doesn't exist anymore. It literally is gone. So it's humorous, kind of, because we always say, well, we're going to help each other. But we start off with the premise that we're not going to really talk about the very problem, which is us.
Yeah, that's so true. I like how you talk about not only bridging that gap in understanding and in dialogue and the need for that, but also getting into what your kids are doing, not in a way that's threatening them or taking it away, but in a way of understanding. I think that's so important for people.
Heck yes. I mean, if you really want to be an amazing parent and actually learn on the journey of being an amazing parent, and I don't think there's anyone right now who wouldn't want to do this if they really thought about it in hopefully the new way that I inspire you to think about this. If you want someone not to do something, it's very helpful to actually be informed about the topic and the subject that you're trying to change their mind about. You need to be informed before you start telling someone, don't use this. And you can't just use a statistic. It's bad for you to use the phone, so don't use the phone. That doesn't work. But what if you actually started to live inside the apps and inside the world of your children? Not in an uncool way, actually in a way that you go to your children and say, hey, listen, will you introduce me to your world? I really don't understand it. And I really would like you to explain what's cool in your world. What makes you happy? It won't be what makes me happy or maybe you happy, but your child might be extremely happy with the content they're looking at. And when you finally understand what is their happy index, what actually makes them happy, I believe you can then start having an honest discussion. Should what is making them happy be fringe, on the edge, not in your value system? But you don't have to be, in my opinion, mad about it. You don't have to come in ferociously. Instead, we start a really cool thing called dialogue. And the dialogue can go like, hey, I don't quite understand what you're looking at, but I want to understand more. So could you explain, do those activities make you happy? Are you squeamish at all? Is there anything here that maybe you're concerned about? If maybe what they're looking at is too violent? or there's a lot of rhetoric, a lot of screaming, or maybe it's very political, maybe it's very sexual. So the thing is, you won't know unless you give it a chance and really go into your kid's world. And I want to make it clear, I don't mean in a phony way, I mean in a genuine way. And it's going to take effort. And a lot of parents actually don't have the time because they want to go back to their own devices to play. And I'm sorry, it's going to take a lot of time. But if you want to help the world, if you really want to be able to help us with explaining to TikTok what's wrong, if you really want to change anything today, we all need to become a lot more informed. So therefore, I'm on TikTok right now, and I am learning more about TikTok. So that way, if I do want to offer a criticism, I'm equally going to be able to talk about TikTok in a fair and hopefully unbiased way.